Hello, good morning. Today we will be discussing regarding topic supply. In supply, in this topic we saw what is supply, then analysis of supply. In that we saw individual supply. What is individual supply? Market supply. So individual supply means quantity of goods offered for sale by one seller at different prices in the market at a particular period of time. So, goods offered for sale by seller. In a market supply, as you know, there are many sellers or producers who produces homogeneous or similar goods and they offer their quantity to the consumers for sale. So, when you see the total supply of all the sellers in a market at various prices at a particular period of time, it is called market supply. Market supply will be always more than individual supply. Individual supply is one seller selling goods, offering goods for sale. Individual supply is shown in the individual supply schedule, in which prices of goods are shown on one side and goods offered for sale or ready to sell is shown on another side. Same rule is applicable for market supply. So market supply schedule shows the total supply available at various prices at a particular period of time. Then we saw what is total output. So total output or total production during a particular period of time is output or production by individual producer or total supply or production by all the seller in an economy is called output. Then we saw what is stock. What is the difference between stock and supply? Stock is potential supply. Stock means total production made during the year by a seller plus unsold stock in the previous year. Stock is always more than supply or equal to supply. Supply cannot be more than stock. So this is what we saw in the previous lecture. Now today we will be learning what is law of supply, how the supply schedule is shown, and how the supply curve is to be drawn. So law of supply consists of three things again, like demand, like utility. This section is divided into three parts. That is law of supply itself, assumptions of law of supply, and exceptions to the law of supply. In law of supply, again it is divided into three parts. Explanation of law of supply, supply schedule, and graphical representation of supply schedule, which will result into supply curve. Now, what is law of supply? Now, law of supply says that other conditions remaining constant, other things being equal, means there are assumptions. So, other things being equal, this phrase tells you that law of supply is only confined to price. Means law of supply is proved only when there is change in the price. So now this law is only, it can be explained in one sentence or it has to be explained in four sentences. Same thing you have to tell in a different way. Otherwise your law of supply answer will be very short. So I will tell you 3 to 4 points how to explain law of supply. First point, other things remaining unchanged or constant. As the price of a commodity rises, its supply is extended, and as the price falls, its supply is contracted. First sentence. Again I will repeat. Other things remaining constant, comma, as the price of a commodity rises, its supply extends. Don't use word increase. And as the price falls, its supply is contracted. First sentence. Now, second sentence. Other things being equal, supply varies directly with the price. Sentence number 2. Again I repeat. Other things being equal, supply varies directly with the price. Sentence number 3. More is supplied at a higher price and less is supplied at a lower price. Next sentence. See, whatever we have to say about law of supply, these are the sentence. This is called economics language. You should express your law in these sentences. Next, the law of supply explains relationship between price of a commodity and quantity offered for sale in the market. See how you have to explain one by one in various sentences. Again I repeat, the law explains the relationship between price and quantity offered for sale in a market. Next point, supply and quantity offered for sale moves in the same direction. As the price rises, supply rises. As the price falls, supply falls. The quantity offered for sale will reduce. If price falls, quantity offered for sale will rise. if price rises. This is how you have to explain in 5 to 6 sentences, big sentences. Otherwise, if you say law of supply says other conditions remaining constant, as the price rises, supply rises. Price falls, supply falls. No. This is the answer, correct answer, but you have to explain in different words. Different presentation is required. Otherwise, law will not be understood by examiner and it will not be proper. Now, second section of the law of supply. Second section says, law of supply can be explained with the help of supply schedule. Now, when we have seen individual supply schedule, we wrote individual supply schedule. In market supply schedule, we wrote market supply schedule. So, remove that individual word while explaining law of supply and write supply schedule. Same thing, same explanation, same price, same quantity, which is explained in individual or market supply. You have to present same thing here, but you should use the word as supply schedule. So, I am coming to the second part, that is law of supply can be explained with the help of supply schedule. So, that schedule I will show you from textbook. Again I am telling you, in my notes I don't draw any diagram because I make students to draw the diagram. That is why I am not showing from my notes. But I will explain the schedule and supply curve from textbook. Now, this is supply schedule. See here the textbook says law of supply can be better understood with the help of following schedule and diagram. Supply schedule. Price is shown on the left hand side and quantity supplied or offered for sale of X commodity is in units given here. So, supply schedule consists of prices of goods at one hand, this you have to write, and quantity offered for sale on the right hand side. Now, the textbook has not given any explanation, but you have to write the explanation. At price 10, quantity offered for sale was 100. As the price has gone up to 20, supply rises to 200. When price was 30, quantity offered for sale was 300. So it has gone up by again 100 quantity. So if you see the trend, price is rising by 10 rupees at every time and quantity offered for sale also goes up or rises by 100. So the supply schedule tells you that as the price rises, quantity offered for sale also goes up. So this expression is given in my notes, which is not given in the textbook. Now, the supply schedule can be represented in a diagram which will give us supply curve. So, supply curve, in supply curve, OX OX quantity, OX axis shows quantity supplied by seller, offered for sale. Y quantity shows price in rupees. Now, as the price was 10, quantity offered for sale is 100. As the price goes to 20, quantity offered for sale is 200. As price rises to 30, quantity offered is 300. As the price rises to 40, quantity offered is 400. And at price 50, quantity offered is 500. So, if you join these points, you will get supply curve SS. Now, again, textbook has not given that point number 1. There is positive relationship between price and quantity offered for sale is not given. Price and quantity moves in one direction, which is also not given. Supply curve SS slopes upward from left to right, indicating direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. So, this is the only sentence given here. But in my notes, whatever I told you just now, that is to be written. So, this is the explanation of law of supply, presentation in supply schedule, and graphical representation of supply curve is this. Now, this is called law of supply. Now, in your exam, the question economics question paper is very tricky and it is very lengthy. Now, marks are allotted depending upon the type of question. What it means? It means if the question carries 3 or 4 marks, then examiner will ask you only law of supply. If it is 2 marks, sometimes it is also 2 marks. Explain what is supply. So you need not write law of supply. You have to write what is supply, which I already told you. You have to see the question paper very carefully. How much marks are allotted to that question. Don't go on writing pages after pages for 2 or 4 marks. If the question is for 4 marks, this law explanation and the supply curve. But if the question is of 8 marks, the examiner will ask you explain law of supply and assumptions of law of supply, or sometimes explain law of supply and exception to the law of supply. So you have to see the question very carefully. Now I'm coming to second section, and that is assumptions or conditions of law of supply. As I told you while explaining the law, we saw that other conditions remaining constant, more is supplied at a higher price, less at a less price. This is law. So that phrase, other conditions remaining unchanged, other conditions remaining constant, other things remaining equal, are the assumptions of law of supply. It means there are many factors which affects supply, but we have to assume that these factors will not affect supply, and only one determinant is applicable to law of supply. So like price of a commodity, there are many factors which affect this. This I have explained you in case of determinants of supply. But again I am telling you, economics language is little bit different. Your presentation of your answer, if the question says that write down determinants, then you have to write following factors affect supply: cost of production, then change in the technique of production, method of production, government policy, which I have already explained. But while explaining assumptions to the law of supply, you have to constantly use in each point what you have to use, which words you have to use in assumptions. Now I will explain. So, coming back to the assumptions or conditions of law of supply, the law of supply will be true only when commodities are sold more when price is more. But there are other things. Which are these other things affect the supply? In actual life, in a practical life, following factors are affecting. For example, first, cost of production. It is first sentence, first point. It is assumed that cost of production will be unchanged. This way you have to write. In determinants you have to write cost of production. Then you have to cost of production will affect supply, etc. But here, when you write for assumptions, first point you have to write cost of production will remain unchanged. Then you have to explain this point, saying that it is assumed that there is no change in the cost of production due to increase in prices of factors of production. So what are the factors of production? Land, labor, capital and organization. What is the price paid by the producer for them, to them? For landowner, rent. For capital or loan or finance, interest. For workers, wages or salaries. And for organizer, profit. So it is assumed that price paid by the owner or producer or manufacturer for these factors of production will remain unchanged. This is you have to write. Second point, quantity kept for self-consumption. It is assumed that whatever producer keeps for him as self-consumption, it will not change. Now what is this? Suppose a farmer producing rice or wheat, he produces 1000 kg of rice or wheat, and every year he keeps 100 kg of rice or wheat for his self-consumption, means for him and his family members. Otherwise, if he sells entire 1000 kg, he will have to purchase from the market. So, farmer will keep, vegetable producer or farmer producing rice or wheat, he will keep certain quantity of goods for self-consumption. This is called self-consumption. So, it is assumed that the producer of a commodity do not increase or decrease quantity for self-consumption. Otherwise it will affect supply. Suppose he keeps 200 kg, then supply will be 800 irrespective of price. So quantity kept for self-consumption should not change. Third point is state of technology. It is assumed that there is no change in the state of technology or improvement in the technology, which is not at all possible. Every year, every minute, there are changes. If you see what techniques were used in the 30 years back and what techniques are used today, there is change. Means now, for example, producer should not change from labor intensive method to capital intensive method. Means what? If proportion of workers which are used by him is more than machines, so he should not change this. He should not reduce workers and buy more machines and start producing the goods. This will affect supply because he will be able to produce more quantity with the help of capital intensive method. Next point is government policies. Supply also depends on policies formulated by government from time to time. Government policy as regards direct and indirect taxes, subsidies, industrial policies, etc. should not or remain unchanged. This affects the cost of production depending upon the production made by the producer. Supply will increase if the government policy is favorable, and if it's not, supply will reduce. So in actual life, government policies affecting the supply. So it is assumed that there is no change in the government policy. Now, infrastructure facilities. It is assumed that you have to use this every time. See, infrastructure facility, in the case of determinants of supply, you have to explain in different way. In case of assumptions of law of supply, you have to construct the sentence in a different way, but you have to explain same thing. For example, in case of infrastructure facility, you have to state, it is assumed that there is no change in the transport facility, power supply, communication, banking facility, because this will affect supply. If infrastructure is good, supply will be more. But if infrastructure is not good, supply will reduce or there will be shortage of supply. Hence, we have to assume that supply infrastructure facility will not change. Next point, prices of other goods. Prices of substitutes available in the market are assumed to be constant. So, you have to write in your answer, it is assumed that prices of all competitive goods will remain unchanged because this will affect supply of goods in question. Next point is expectation about future prices. It is assumed that the price of a commodity is not expected to rise or fall in future. It means in practical sense, if the price is 10 and quantity offered for sale is 100, now if price goes to 15, supplier, seller, producer should supply more. But he is not supplying more because he expects further rise in price so that he will make more profit and more sale in future if he expects more rise in price. On the other hand, if price falls from 10 to 8 and if the supply is for 10 is 100 and if price falls to 8, he should reduce the supply as per the law of supply. But he starts selling more and more goods because he expects that there will be further fall. Hence, it is assumed that producer or supplier should not expect further price or rise or fall in price. Next point is natural calamities. Again, first thing you have to write. First you have to write the agricultural commodities depends upon the natural conditions. Drought, flood, tsunami, earthquake will reduce the supply, but good monsoon and favorable condition, other favorable condition will increase the supply. But you have to write that it is assumed while explaining the law, it is assumed that natural calamities will not occur in the country. That way you have to write. Next point, it is assumed that political disturbance like riots or other thing like war or emergency should not be offering or coming in the country. This will reduce the supply. Hence, these are the points you should write while explaining the assumptions of law of supply. See, assumptions of law of demand are totally different. One here and there, 1 point, 2 points can be common. For example, expectation about future price. That point is common. But most of the points in assumptions of law of supply are totally different because it is assumptions are from the angle of, from the point of view of seller, from the producer's point of view. These are the assumptions. Now, next point is that exceptions to the law of supply. Exceptions to the law of supply are, first of all, are there any exceptions to the law of supply? So, answer to this question is yes. There are many exceptions to the law of supply. As in the case of law of DMU, law of diminishing marginal utility, we saw that apparently there are exceptions, but actually after analyzing or going through into deep, we have proved that there are no exceptions to the law of diminishing marginal utility. In case of law of demand, are there any exceptions? Yes, there are many exceptions to the law of demand, that is behavior of consumers in case of inferior goods or Giffen paradox. Point number 1. Point number 2, behavior of rich people while using the goods. Rich people using diamonds and gold ornaments. What is the consumer behavior? So, in that case, in the case of law of demand, there are exceptions. In the case of law of supply, there are exceptions to the law of supply, and these exceptions are to be studied by us. How the supply curve will be in case of exception to the law of supply. Now, which are the exceptions to the law of supply? Now, exceptions to the law of supply are in case of labor supply, in case of rise and fall in interest, rise and fall in interest rate, then need for cash for seller or producer. Exception is also in the case of agriculture goods. It is also in the case of rare articles, and it is to be explained in the case if seller or producer expects further fall or rise in price. In that case, law of supply is not applicable. So, in case of these exceptions, what it says that in these 6 cases, law of supply is not operating. Means what? Means more will be supplied at a less price and less will be supplied at a higher price. Law of supply is telling you that more is supplied at a higher price, less is supplied at a less price. But in these cases, as the price rises, supply falls. If price falls, supply rises. So, what is the graphical representation and what is the explanation to this? That we will be seeing in the next lecture. And in the next lecture, we will see contraction, expansion, increase, decrease. These are the terms we saw in demand also. Similarly, in case of supply also, what is contraction, what is expansion, what is increase, what is decrease, how to draw supply curve, that we will be learning next time. And then one small section is left in supply chapter, because some portion is reduced in the new syllabus, that is elasticity of supply is removed from the new syllabus. So then what is total cost, what is total revenue, what is marginal revenue, what is marginal cost, that we'll be learning subsequently in the next lecture. Thank you.